Ratatouille is wild. In the opening scenes of the movie, an old woman tries multiple times to shoot the protagonist with a shotgun. She ends up collapsing the roof of her house and subsequently gasses it by accident. Then, as the protagonist is running away, he gets separated from his family and ends up somehow in Paris, where he meets the secret illegitimate child of a world-famous dead chef and almost dies. Several times. Almost drowns, almost gets baked alive in an oven, almost gets set on fire, almost drowns again. Then the bastard son has a couple mental breakdowns and suddenly a rat is pulling on his hair to control his movements. Bastard son gets drunk a couple times because Paris, I guess, one of which is when an evil sous chef is trying to get the kid to admit that he's only successful because there's a rat pulling on his hair to control all of his actions. Oh, and the kid's name is Alfredo Linguini. Let that sink in. And during the entire course of the movie, Remy the rat is struggling with the moral conflict of whether or not stealing is wrong when he comes from an impoverished background. He's also trying to utilize the waste of excess of food born from the inherently reckless motives of capitalism deep-rooted in our society, even though everyone condemns it to theft and injustice when he's just trying to feed his hungry friends. And the basis of the entire film is that art is not exclusive to one elitist congregation, that the widespread availability of art is crucial to the prosperity of art itself, and that honesty and understanding and acceptance are necessary components for the success of any and all relationships. I'm here to tell you about how this crazy film contains the meaning of life. You're not expected to catch all of that your first time watching the movie. No, I didn't. My first experience with Ratatouille was around 12 years ago when it first came out. 5-year-old Sara watched in utter confusion as the CGI rats stormed some fancy kitchen, and various adults with snooty, funny accents got really mad at the rats and this tall, skinny boy for trying to cook. But eventually, everyone just acknowledged how weird the situation was, and they were all like, screw it, let the rat cook. And it was happily ever after as the credits rolled and the cute music played. I didn't love the movie at first, mostly, because I didn't get it. Like the name, for example, Ratatouille. What does that even mean? I just knew that it was a pun because it had the word rat in it, and it was like something French, maybe. I don't know. It worked for 5-year-old me. I looked at everything with a very surface level approach, but it's okay because I went back to the movie when I was older and slightly more educated, and I was able to catch a lot more of the messages that the movie sends. So after coming back to the movie and analyzing its many complex messages, I developed quite the wild little Pixar revelation of my own. Alfredo Linguini is half rat. Let me explain. Linguini, who's in the middle, if you couldn't tell, bears a strong physical resemblance to the rats in the film with his skittish movements, his big nose, and his large, round, outward-facing ears. Linguini's accent is the only non-European accent of all the humans in the movie, but he's not the only one who talks like this. There are other characters who have his non-European accent, they're all rats. So, the most logical explanation for this linguistic oddity is that Linguini was raised by rats, and this is how he learned to speak the way that they do. Thank you. Right? Okay. To further the familial tract, we know from mentions in the film by multiple characters that Linguini's mother is named Renata Linguini, but we never see her appear in the film, not even in pictures. I propose that she was a rat. Renata, being a rat, would offer an explanation for why she and Chef Cousteau were so adamant about keeping their relationship a secret. So, I mean, would you react well to the news that a human and a rat were having an affair? I don't think so. This would also explain why Linguini is so quick to trust Remy, because he's connected to his mother, a fellow rat. He senses it. Finally, a lawyer of the evil sous chef tests a hair sample from Linguini's hat to determine once and for all if he's truly related to Chef Cousteau. They say that the test had to be run multiple times because it kept on coming back in as rat hair, which implies that it came from Remy because Remy was in his hat and his hair was in his hat, but some of you are ahead of me. Yeah. Anyone with a general knowledge of biology knows that an individual gets half their their DNA from their mother, have their DNA from their father. So this means that if Renata was a rat, Linguini would have inherited rat genes from his rat mother, Renata. Right, okay. So Alfredo Linguini is half rat, and he and Remy spend 2 hours violating at least 8 health code regulations while running around defeating various snooty Parisian antagonists. So what? Well, here's the thing. What Ratatouille is trying to tell us is that these half rats like Linguini are everywhere. They have the outward appearance of a human that technically qualifies them to do anything they want, but their internal half-ratness, the part where their talent lies, is restricted by society's preconceived anti-rat sentiments. Humans in this movie persecute a completely sentient species just because they look and act a little bit different from us. It's kind of whack if you think about it. Yeah. The food critic Anton Ego said, "Not anyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere." When he said that, he meant that cooking is an art form, and it's not one that is limited to exclusively include those privileged enough to be born into it. Cooking is not a classist art form that only whole humans are allowed to participate in. These half-rats, they're more than just the Pixar universe too. They're everywhere, all around us. They're out in public, they're in the streets, they're in the school hallways, they're in the classrooms. There might be a half-rat sitting next to you right now. They sit in their English classes scribbling poetry because they're bored by the teacher droning on about in-class essays and Harkness discussions. And they formulate their own equations in math class because they're bored by the prescribed textbook. Chef Gusteau taught his son that anyone can cook, and he's exactly right. The half-rats are all around us, and it is damn time we let them into the kitchen.